What is the scariest Reddit post? I read this one story that stuck with me on r/Let's Not Meet. I've been unable to find it the past couple of times I've looked. The OP tells a spine-chilling story from their childhood. One night they hear a weird scratching/shifting noise under their bed as they're falling asleep for the night, but they assume it's their cat and think nothing of it. They wake up later in the night to a man gently poking and prodding at them. The way he does it scares the OP because it's as if he's never touched a human before. When OP stirs awake, the man drops to the floor, hiding his face with his hands. OP jumps over the man and bolts for their parents' room, but stops in the hallway and turns back around, convinced that they must have imagined it. They go back to their room and decide to watch a bit of TV before going back to bed. As their eyes adjust to the darkness of the room, OP notices the man is in the closet with his back turned toward the wall, standing completely still. OP runs out and finally gets their parents, who scour the house for the man to no avail. No signs of forced entry anywhere either, but the kicker is that a spare key OP's parents gave a trusted neighbor was stolen before the incident. This one makes my skin crawl. A woman posted in AskReddit a while back about driving home from college and having to pull off the road for the night because of a bad storm. She found some rundown motel off the side of the road and pulled in. The man she talked to at the front desk was really creepy, but she still went ahead and got a room for the night. When she saw the condition of the room once she entered it, she decided to go out and sleep in her car for the night. Sometime during the night, she was awakened by some ruckus coming from the motel, and she peeked out from her car to see a group of men entering her motel room. She freaked out and jumped into the driver's seat, speeding off out of the parking lot. When she finally got home, she told her parents what happened, and her mother insisted on calling the authorities. When the police in that area called them back, they informed them that that motel hadn't been opened in years. There was a post in r/confessions where a wife suspects her husband is cheating, since he keeps leaving for a few hours every night when she falls asleep. One night she follows him and notices he doesn't leave the property, but digs around in the trash for a few hours. This continues for nights on end. One night she confronts him, and it turns out that he likes to sniff used diapers from their newborn baby because it turns him on. I think she left him the next day. The scariest post I've seen is from one of the top posts on r/Let's Not Meet. It's the one where a girl's stepmom told her about a hiking trip her and her friend had went on in the 70s. I guess they kind of gotten lost and some good-looking young guy in an old truck picks them up to take them back to their car. Now this was the 70s, so hitchhiking wasn't all that uncommon still. On the way to her car, he stops at an old abandoned house and tells them he will be right back. While he's gone, they ditch the truck and run into the woods. They finally make their way back down the mountain and can see their car parked in the lot, but the guy's truck is parked in the lot too. The stepmom wants to just go home, but her friend tells her to wait, so they sit back in the tree line, unseen for a few hours, and just watch. Once it starts to get dark, they hear a car door pop, and the guy slinks out of their back seat, gets in his truck, and drives away. Absolutely terrifying. There was a story that was posted on the relationship advice subreddit about 1 or 2 years ago, where a woman found videos of her husband raping multiple women. Come to find out that one of the videos is of her before they were married, before they had officially met. He had a friend that was an accomplice and would set up the girls to be drugged/incapacitated, which was how she met him in the first place. She had had no memory of that night at all and ultimately confronted him, had to call the police. Him and friend got arrested, and I think she ended up moving away. She seemed very strong throughout the whole thing, and whether true or not, entirely disturbing. The one that stuck with me the most was a comment on a "What's your darkest family secret" thread. I've never been able to find it again because I came across it while going through a rabbit hole of disturbing threads. It starts with this guy hearing this story from his mom, who was a kid in rural Texas in the 50s. There was a kid in her family who was disabled who suddenly got sick and died one day. At the funeral, people were talking about how it was sad, but ultimately for the best because of what a burden he was on the family. In the middle of the funeral, they started hearing crying and banging coming from the coffin, so they cut the mass short and quickly carried the coffin outside and buried it. Another user said, "That reminds me of another story I read, also second or third hand from the storyteller's great-grandmother when they lived in Eastern Europe somewhere. As a girl, the great-grandmother was at a funeral reception at someone's home for a woman who had passed. It was the middle of winter and snowing heavily. During the reception, the dead woman shows up outside and is banging on the door to be let in. Everyone is terrified and thinks she is some kind of demon or ghost, and they turn off the lights and don't answer the door. The next day, they see the woman outside frozen to death. Turned out she wasn't dead yet and made her way out of her tomb just to freeze outside of her own funeral." The series of posts from the user Jason in Hell on r/relationship advice about divorcing his cheating wife. The wife tried to use their 2 children to force him to stay and eventually stabbed the kids to death, a 3-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy. It started with a post asking what to do with his marriage after he caught his wife cheating with his neighbor. She wasn't really apologetic, but wanted him to stay and made it clear that she was going to manipulate their kids and make life hell for them if he left. He decided to put up with it, but after a year, he just couldn't continue with this personal hell. So, after hearing the sub-advice, he decided to go forward with divorce and try to keep custody of the children. There is no post about the murders, but another user reported the news article about it. After a few months, OP posted an update detailing his grief, his struggle to stay alive, and ultimately how he is recovering from the loss and guilt day after day. There was a story told here on r/AskReddit in a thread that was titled something like, "What is the scariest thing you have ever personally experienced?" The story involved the user and their friends driving in a car through an old service road in the forest at night, looking for a place to camp. They came across a large clearing and started to drive toward the other side of it to make camp there, but stopped when they noticed 2 tents pitched. They were going to turn back around and leave, but something made them take a closer look. Some of the party got out of the car to investigate the campsite and noticed women's clothes strewn about and multiple backpacks collected near one of the tents. That's when they heard a loud diesel engine and the headlights of a large pickup truck entering the clearing where they entered. It was stopped, preventing an easy escape by the user and their friends. It then began to rev its engine and charge toward their location. The friends that were out of the car ran back, and once everyone was in the car, they were able to avoid the truck and get the hell out of there. One of the friends swore they saw 2 guys and a passed out woman in the cab of the truck. As soon as they were in cell range, they called the authorities. When the authorities were able to get to the location described by the group, the site was all cleared up. Not a piece of clothing was left behind. The story left chills going down my spine. I've been here a long time. Some of the posts that have stuck with me include a guy that tried to kill himself by shooting himself in the head with a shotgun, but he survived and just blew his whole face off. There's a video where he's still alive and he's sitting in a car moving around, confused. The neighbor that got into an argument with his neighbors across the street, a couple, over snow on each other's properties. Dude goes inside and gets a gun and proceeds to shoot both of them. The woman goes down in the street and keeps talking shit as he executes her, all caught on camera. A video of a guy doing pull-ups on the side of a skyscraper, but his strength gives out and he falls to his death. A video of a bunch of people hanging out doing redneck shit in like mud pits, I think. Dude sets off a firework in his hand, blows his whole hand apart. He's too drunk to know how much trouble he's in, but some people try to get him medical attention. Video of a girl on fire begging to be killed because she's just not dying. Crowd of people all around her just watching her scream and cry on fire. And finally, a video of the big dude in the mall that gets stabbed right in the neck and almost instantly bleeds out and dies. A lady on a religious marriage advice subreddit begging for help 20 days after getting married because her new husband had pulled a complete 180 since they got married. She said he went from being super nice before they were married to being extremely mean right afterwards. It was all pretty clear textbook abuse, but she also said that ever since getting married, her health had taken a nosedive for no apparent reason. She's been hospitalized multiple times for gastrointestinal problems, she's tired all the time, and her hair had started falling out. For those of you playing along at home, That's all pretty much textbook thallium poisoning. I messaged her a couple journal articles and encouraged her to get somewhere safe. And of course all the comments were about how her mother-in-law had probably put a curse on her and how she needed to learn to love her husband. That was months ago and the account has not been touched since that post, despite being an active user beforehand. I still think about that lady and hope she's okay, but to be honest, her situation sounded so serious and she was in such bad health that I'm pretty sure she's dead now. For me, it was the post in r/AskReddit about a guy and his ex-wife driving in their car. They were at a stoplight when one of them looked over at the car next to them. In the car, they saw a terrified-looking woman in the passenger seat with duct tape over her mouth, and her upper body was tied up. The guy behind the wheel also looked completely insane, and the lady was clearly not in the car willingly. They tried to follow the vehicle, but the driver did extreme measures to try and get away. They were never able to find the vehicle and never heard anything on the news if the woman escaped or not. That was in the recent thread about things you saw that you weren't supposed to see, I believe. Scariest one I read was the guy who Snapchatted his buddies while he was home alone. Somebody pointed out, "Hey, what's that at the window?" He was hearing noises and ended up doing a walk around the house but didn't see anything. One of the Redditors was able to fuck with the footage with various filters, and it turned out that at one point he walked right past a big guy wearing an all-black raincoat or something, standing in a dark corner of the house. He was literally standing next to him at one point. The guy just dipped out and got a hotel for the night. Creepiest shit ever. I didn't come across this, but it was a reply on a post about someone asking if anyone has committed manslaughter, and one dude replied how he threw a rock at a disabled kid and he fell down the side of this hill. But the most interesting part of this post is when someone figured out who the victim was and then the OP deleted his reply. Another user said they were all kids when it happened, and OP wasn't entirely sure if he did actually kill the kid when it happened because they all got scared and ran home after the kid fell down the hill. It's very possible that the kid got up and was abducted on his way home afterwards because the police wholeheartedly believed he was kidnapped. If I had to choose one, I would say the Parasite Man. I can't provide sources because I think the original post was banned, but you can find it really easily by searching that name. It was basically some sub of Reddit confessions or something like that. There was a guy that liked to infect himself with parasites, like a whole freaking bunch of them, but the most disturbing part is that although he knew that it can lead to health issues, he liked to infect other people as well. His family members, random one-night stand partners, he would even go to public spaces to infect more people. The guy knew that it was wrong and was still doing it. Who knows how many people he has infected over his time, and if he is still doing it to this day. If you guys like this video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and also check out my TikTok account, Scary Time. That is linked in the description below. And as always, stay scary.